नमस्कार. ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ओम शांति शांति शांति. Pranams to Kapu, Swamiji. Pranams to Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj. Namaskar to everybody. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming for Swami's session this afternoon. And we are so blessed to have Swami with us today. And to just start the program, I request Ratnadi to sing the divine hymns. On completion of that, I will introduce Swami. Then we will get started. And about the day's program, Swami will be taking a session for about an hour, and we will be having Q&A after his discourse. Then we will be having the evening arati. Then there will be a 10 minutes silent meditation. Then we will adjourn for the day. And thank you. With that, I would like to request Ratnadi to start, sing the divine hymns. Thank you.
Maharaj, I'll start now. तब कथामृतं ताप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये पुरिता जनाः. भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये पुरिता जनाः. नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव. शक्ति समुद्र समूथ तरंगं दर्शित प्रेम विजृंभितरंगं. शक्ति समुद्र समूथ तरंगं दर्शित प्रेम विजृंभितरंगं. संशय राक्षस नाशमहासं यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यं. यामि गुरुं शरणं भववैद्यं. नरदेव देव जय जय नरदेव. अद्वयतत्त्व समाहितचित्तं प्रोज्ज्वलभक्ति पटामृतवृत्तम्. अद्वय Jaya Jaya Naradeva Naradeva Deva Jaya Jaya Naradeva Naradeva Deva Jaya Jaya Naradeva.
Thank you, Ratnadi. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji is coming to our center every alternate months. Maharaj doesn't need an introduction, but for the benefit of everybody, I just want to give a brief introduction about Maharaj before welcoming Maharaj to get his session started. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj has been the minister and the spiritual leader of Vedanta Society of New York since January 2017. He joined Ramakrishna Mutt in 1994 and received his sannyasa in 2004. Swami served as an acharya, teacher of the monastic probationers training center at Belur Mutt, India. And Swami has served in various capacities in different educational institutes of Ramakrishna Mission in India and as the Assistant Minister of Vedanta Society of Southern California. As we all know, Swami is a well-known speaker on Vedanta and his talks are extremely popular globally via the internet. Swami has also been invited to speak at several universities across the world, including Harvard regularly. And Swami has engaged in dialogue with many eminent thinkers such as Deepak Chopra, Robert Svera, Rick Archer, David Chalmers, and Sam Harris, to name a few. Swami has played a prominent role in organizing and participating in various interfaith panels and seminars, and he continues to do that. Some of Swami's popular talks have been compiled into e-books like Who Am I, What is Vedanta, and Dissolve into Infinity, or currently, all of them are currently available in Amazon Twitter. And there are lots of things to say about Swami, and all of you know. But without taking any more time, that is, we would like to welcome Swami to our center today. And I would like to request Swami now to come and start his discourse. Welcome, Maharaj.
Is this on? Yes. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityur ma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. This one? Yes. Is this good?
Yeah.
Okay. Namaste and good afternoon, everybody. Great to see so many familiar faces, a few new ones too. So, what we are doing in these classes, ideally these should be done at least once a week, but we do it once a month or once in every alternate month, so it's disjointed. But the basic teaching is the same, that our real nature is Brahman, that you are that. Now, what we are doing in this is we are using this book. This is called Yoga Vashishta Sara, the Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. The original Yoga Vashishta, 30,000 verses, more than multiple volumes in its original Sanskrit. This is a summary. It's a selection. And it's a pretty old text. This one itself is a pretty old text, a few hundred years old at least. Somebody, we don't know who, made a selection out of those 30,000 verses into just over 200 verses. So much more manageable in about 10 chapters. In 10 chapters, just over 200 verses. What did they select? They selected from the Yoga Vashishta, the original text, they selected the core teachings of non-duality. The core teachings, the spiritual teachings, philosophical teachings of non-duality. They left out a lot. Whoever selected this left out a lot. Made the stories and stuff like that, and a lot of other things also. But however, it's a very handy volume then. And in each session, what we do is we take up a few representative verses from each chapter. We've already looked at first 4 chapters. Just sort of a synoptic view. Now, in today's chapter, which we'll look at the 5th chapter today. This is chapter number 5. It's a short chapter with about, just over 16 verses. Chapter 5. Vasana Upashamanam Prakaranam, the chapter on cessation of latent impressions, whatever that means. Now we'll see. It has a very important meaning. What I always emphasize is the unique nature of these teachings. Whenever we come to a spiritual course or spiritual teachings, we have a general preconception that maybe we're going to sit and meditate or be devotional, which we are. We're going to do that. But this is a very unique path. It is without parallel in all the spiritual traditions of the world. Path of pure knowledge, a spiritual philosophical inquiry. This is a path of what I would like to call experiential knowledge. And I'm using those words very carefully. Experiential knowledge. When I just say the path of knowledge, immediately what comes into our mind is, books, some kind of an academic setting, and you read stuff, you get to know something, you read a text maybe, you gather information, gather knowledge, all of which is there in this path. But it seems divorced from experience when we talk about knowledge as such. But this path of Jnana Yoga, is not divorced from experience. At every step here, it cleaves closely to experience. It cleaves closely to our lived experience. I cannot emphasize this enough. Because in every other path, the experience that is required is at a distance. So, I believe in God, and by the grace of God I shall go to heaven, I shall have a vision of God. Alright, quite possible, and I believe it's possible. But clearly, everybody would agree, it's still at a distance. Nobody's saying, I'm right now in that heaven which I'm talking about, and right now I'm seeing God. You might be either extraordinarily lucky or much more commonly deluded. One of the two. So that's one. That experience is far away. Or the yogic way. I will sit and meditate in this way and get samadhi. Various kinds of yogic experiences. Alright, that's also very much possible, but that's still at a distance. Most of us would not claim to be having those things now. Whereas in this path, whatever is being said, from the beginning to the end, they are trying to point out something, it's already a fact right now in our own experience. That's the remarkable thing about this. That when it says you are Brahman, you are the Absolute, it means so that right now, not that you're going to become that in the future, or after you become enlightened, you will become that, not even that. After you go to heaven, you'll become Brahman, not even that. It means right now. But this they're talking about, pure being, pure consciousness, we are all of us. We are that right now. That's what they're trying to say. And they're also saying that it can be easily understood it can be known, it can be realized. And that is the purpose. And what is the use of all of that? If you do that, we will overcome our problems, our sufferings, sorrows at a very deep level. After this, no serious problem to be solved after this, if one realizes this to be true. So such a huge claim. This is the royal road of the Upanishads, the most ancient spiritual teachings existing in the world today. The path of the Upanishads. This is the royal road. But it's also often, like Robert Frost said, the road not taken. So we are taking this road. And in today's class, we'll do chapter 5, verses 1 to verse 4. Yeah, that's all. 4 verse 5. Verses 1 to 5. Verses 1 to 5 of chapter 5. What are we going to do? We are going to deal with some very weighty issues here. What is enlightenment? Not how we get enlightened, that we have talked about again and again, but what constitutes enlightenment? We keep talking about Brahma Jnana, knowledge of Brahman. What is Brahma Jnana? What would constitute Brahma Jnana? It's good to know these things. What constitutes Brahma Jnana? And we will see that Brahma Jnana, the knowledge of Brahman, at 4 levels. We'll talk about it. 4 levels of Brahma Jnana. What constitutes enlightenment? World is an appearance, world is a dream, world is false. In what sense? We will see 3 senses in which the world is an appearance or an illusion. All of those things we'll see today. So it's an important chapter. It touches upon the core issues of enlightenment in this tradition. First of all, verse number 1, which introduces the power of inquiry, of spiritual inquiry. Verse number 1. If you want, you can repeat with me, those who like, if you have the book. Rama swatma vicharoyam, Rama swatma vicharoyam, koham syamiti rupakaha, koham syamiti rupakaha, chitta durdurma vijasya, chitta durdurma vijasya, dahane dahana smritaha, dahane dahana smritaha. O Rama, know that this inquiry into the self regarding who am I in my essential nature is like a fire that burns the chitta tree along with its desire seed, which causes sufferings. First of all, this is being taught by the sage Vasishtha to Rama. This highest teaching of non-duality. One question could be, isn't it something meant for monks? Maybe it's something practical for scholars, pandits, monks, but not for the rest of us? So my Swami, I have a job which consumes most of my energy. I have a family to take care of. I don't have time to be this world-denying, head up in the clouds, kind of idealist. Is it for me? Is this path for me? It's exactly for you. Why? The context of the Yoga Vasishtha was Rama, the great Ramachandra. When he was a young prince, he studied Vedanta and he was convinced, oh, this is the path. I want to realize I'm Brahman, so I don't want to be a prince, I don't want to rule the kingdom. He wanted to give it all up and become a wandering monk. And his father, Dasharatha, was worried. Who's going to look after the family business, the kingdom? So he enrolls the sage Vasishtha. Please convince him to do his, to keep to the track, to do what is required of him. He is the crown prince. It's very ironic that it's the same Dasharatha would banish Rama for 14 years afterwards. Just as an aside, since we are talking about enlightenment as a relevant aside, one of the signs of an enlightened person in the Yoga Vasishtha, original Yoga Vasishtha, I don't think it's in this selection, Jivan Muktasya Lakshana, the characteristics of an enlightened one, is the one whose expression of peace, serene joy on the face is not affected by the passing winds or passing seasons of happiness and sorrow. Light and darkness which come in life, it will not affect the smile on your face. What a beautiful way to describe enlightenment. And Ramachandra is praised as, when we start Ram Nam, singing Ram Nam, the names of Rama, one of the verses which comes in the initial verses, invocatory verses, is that I salute that Rama whose smile was not affected by the news that he was going to be sent to the forest for 14 years. He was going to be the king, he's going to be the crown prince next day. And that night he's told that, no, you can't be. You're going to go to the forest. You're exiled. His smile did not flicker for one moment. So that Rama I salute. Who's, in English they say, Mukh Malin Neva. A scowl didn't come on the face, or the face was not darkened. Yeah, the English phrase, darkened. Face was not darkened by the heavy blow that your worldly fortunes have changed so much. I remember this monk, a similar story. Many years ago, about 20 years ago, I was in the Himalayas, and I and some other monks were begging for our food in a monastery, in an ashram in Uttarkashi. And it so happened, 2 weeks later, I was back in our main monastery in Calcutta, Belur Math, and in the university there, not the university, the college. And Microsoft was organizing a seminar for school teachers and college teachers, and they had organized it in at that time Calcutta's most posh hotel. So they would call all the school and college teachers and tell them about their latest educational software and stuff. It's a typical corporate hard sell. Now from our schools and colleges, I and some other teachers and monks, we went as a part of the team. And this monk with whom I was begging for food in the mountains 2 weeks ago, he was also there. Now imagine, it is the Taj Hotel or something like that. I forget which one it was. But a very nice hotel in Calcutta in those days. Now there are many more like that. And at lunch, very nice spread, you're sitting down. I asked that monk, Swami, 2 weeks ago, let me say Maharaj, 2 weeks ago, roti dal in the Himalayas, we were begging. And now you're sitting in the most luxurious hotel in Calcutta, thanks to Microsoft. But now you're getting this beautiful circumstances and all this food and luxurious stuff. How do you see the difference? What does it make you feel? I'll tell you what he said in Bengali and I'll translate. He said, জানো কি ওটা আমার অত খারাপ লাগেনি এটাও তেমন ভালো লাগছে না I didn't think that was so bad and I don't think this is all that great either. And I said, this is the difference that renunciation makes. And I pointed it out to that Swami. Look at all the teachers who are sitting here. They're school and college teachers. They can never ever afford on their salary in those days. Now they earn much more. But never ever afford a lunch in a 5-star hotel ever on their salary. So what they are seeing now is amazing for them. And I'm sure they're going to go back home and tell stories of what they saw in this most luxurious hotel. It will be a story they can tell for years to come. And if they were suddenly told, you don't have a job anymore, you don't have a family anymore, go and beg in the streets, and you don't know what's going to happen next, you can maybe spend the rest of your life like that, they would be broken, they would be devastated. It's like life has fallen apart. But if you have renunciation, you're so centered that tremendous differences in the external world makes no difference to you at all. You don't have to be enlightened for that. Far before that, immediately it makes a tremendous difference to you. You're perfectly fine with it. You'll be able to say, that was not so bad, and this is not so great either. I'm fine with both. And mean it. Say that and mean it. So here, the teaching is given by Vasishtha to Rama for what? The highest teaching of non-duality, that you are Brahman and the world is an appearance, which we shall see in detail now. That teaching is given to this young man. For what purpose? Not to make him a monk and send him to the Himalayas. To make him a king, so that he can serenely be a king. Vasishtha says to Rama, you want to realize Brahman, you want to go away to the mountains and meditate and realize Brahman, but tell me one thing before you do that. That's very good. You're a spiritual person, but that's very good. But tell me, Prince, one thing. This world that you are leaving, the kingdom and your family and all, you want to leave all of that and go up to the mountains and meditate. This world that you're leaving behind, is this other than Brahman? That God you are seeking, is that God not here? That would be a weird God. That God doesn't exist below 10,000 feet in altitude. Up 10,000 feet and above in the Himalayas, God exists. Below that, God apparently melts or something like that. That would be a strange God. As Sri Ramakrishna said, how strange. When I close my eyes, God is there, and open my eyes, God is not there. What kind of God is that? So it is there, with eyes closed and eyes open. It is there in the high Himalayas and in the plains, burning plains of India. It's there, the same reality. Swami Vivekananda, these are powerful lines which I really, one of the most inspiring lines in Vivekananda. He says, he who runs away to die, meditate and die in a Himalayan cave has missed the way. Why it's powerful for me, I read it, I had run away not to die, at least to meditate in a Himalayan cave, and I read it at that time. So you can imagine the power it had over me. I was in Uttarkashi after spending 2 months meditating in the high Himalayas, and I thought, this is amazing. I'm going to come back every year. I'm going back to our main ashram. I'll do the work there, the service of humanity and all of that. But every year I'll come back for 2 months and go to the high as I can get and sit and meditate. And I read. This was my attitude. With that I opened the book, and Vivekananda is saying, he who runs away to meditate and die in Himalayan cave has missed the way. I sat up. I remember I was sitting on the bed, lying in the bed and reading. I sat up. And the next line, he who plunges into the foolishnesses of the world has missed the way. Very interesting. If you run away from the world, you have missed the way. If you plunge into the world, do what everybody is doing, you have missed the way. And what is the way? If you run away, it seems to be a binary, right? You either get away from it or you get into it. But then what's the other way? And then Vivekananda says, the third sentence, the way is to divinize life itself. To find God wherever you are, with whomever you are, in that language, I'm paraphrasing. In every experience when you find God. Not just in the Himalayas and not in the plains of India. Not just with eyes closed and not with eyes open. Not just in the ashram and not in the court, the royal court of Rama. Everywhere it should be, what you are seeking should be there everywhere. Otherwise it's not worth it. It's not the ultimate reality there. Alright. And so, Vasishtha teaches Ramachandra the highest Advaita. So that, and the result was, Rama agreed. He became the prince, he got married to Sita, and all of the rest of the Ramayana, of course, ensued. So, first off, why I said all this, it is of enormous use to all of us, whether you are a monk, whether you are single, whether you are married. It's a big deal here in the United States, especially if you're single or married. So single is not good, and married or you have a partner, a boyfriend, girlfriend, that's good. I remember seeing this online in a church. So pastor giving a rousing speech. All those who are single, raise your hands. And nobody wanted to raise their hands. And he said, don't worry, Jesus was single. And so then people, okay, I'm single. Whatever your relationship status on your Facebook, this knowledge is helpful to you. Whatever your financial status, whatever your educational status, whatever your job status, this knowledge is of tremendous use. It makes all the difference. This is the gem in the entire treasury, the spiritual treasury of the Upanishads, of Vedanta. Another point here, and then we'll go ahead. Is this a way of inquiry which we do, the way of the seer and the seeing? I'm not going to explain all that, the way of inquiry of the 5 levels of the human personality, Panchakosha Viveka, the inquiry into the waking, dreaming, deep sleep. All of these are methods of inquiry, and they seem very philosophical. Are they enough to make us spiritual? Are they enough to make us enlightened? And he says yes. Chitta, it's a difficult Sanskrit word. Chitta du drurma bijasya. So this tremendous tree, huge tree of the mind filled, which sprouts with all sorts of desires, that can be burnt, destroyed by this inquiry, the knowledge which is produced by this inquiry. So it's a firm affirmation that what we are doing, this practice, this inquiry into who am I, this inquiry, ko aham syam, who am I, this inquiry is enough to destroy the tree of samsara, tree of mind, tree of samsara, born out of desire. It's enough to burn it down. So yes, it's an extremely powerful method. But what is the extent of this method? What is exactly meant by knowledge of Brahman? And those things we will see. I'm skipping number 2. I want to go straight to number 3. Number 3 and number 5 will form the bulk of our discussion today. Number 3. Vicharodhyatma vidyanam jnanam tattvavido viduh Geyam tasyantare vasti madhuryam payaso yatha. The knowers of truth proclaim that the inquiry into self-knowledge is knowledge itself. Like the sweetness in milk, Brahman to be known exists in that knowledge itself. Alright. An amazing claim is made here. This inquiry will lead to enlightenment. This inquiry which we are making into who am I. What is the inquiry will not be taught here, because we already have discussed it a number of times. But the point he is making here is the inquiry will lead to knowledge, to enlightenment. And he is making a further claim. In that enlightenment, the ultimate reality is there. See, what is so strange about that claim is, suppose I tell you that you come to this place, then you will see the ashram. Okay. Now the ashram is not in the seeing. This ashram is there and you come and see it. Similarly, it might be thought that there is Brahman, and then we come to know Brahman, that I am Brahman. But that knowledge, I am Brahman, in that knowledge Brahman is there. In the enlightenment itself, the reality to be known, the reality to be ascertained, the reality to be realized, that's present right there. What is meant by this will become, in Bengali they have the phrase, kromosho prakasho, will be sequentially known. It will be revealed very soon. Alright. What are we going to do in this verse? Ascertain what is meant by knowledge of Brahman. We are all seeking knowledge of Brahman. We all want to be enlightened. What exactly constitutes knowledge of Brahman? That will be the discussion which we will have now. And the knowledge of Brahman will be revealed in 4 stages. 4 stages. At the end also keep in mind, he will make good the claim that in that knowledge of Brahman, Brahman is there. The ultimate reality of this universe is there in that knowledge which we will get. Alright. Now one interesting feature of this book is not only there are these nice selections from the Yoga Vashishta, but also there are plenty of notes. You can see the book, there is plenty of notes there. These were collected and arranged by Swami Dhireshanandaji, who made the first Bengali translation of this text, a senior monk of our order. So these notes are not part of the original text. This is from his vast, Vedantic learning, vast storehouse of Vedantic learning. He has put down these notes. So the notes which supplement this verse, we'll see those notes and see how they explain this verse. Note number 3. Remember the context. What is knowledge of Brahman? And in 4 levels we will understand. So there is a verse which he quotes here. This is from the Tejo Bindu Upanishad. This is in page 189. Page 108 at the bottom. You need not repeat the verse, I just chant the original Sanskrit and give you the translation. Yesham vritti sama vriddha paripakva cha sa punaha te vai satbrahmatam prapta netare shabdavadinaha kushala brahmavartayam vrittihina suraginaha te apyajnanataya nunam punarayanti yanti cha. This is a very stern warning to teachers of Vedanta. What does it mean? You really need to switch off the phones. Yesham vritti samavriddha paripakva cha sa punaha. There's a translation I think I've also given. They only attain the state of eternal Brahman nature whose mental modifications are of the form of Brahman. They are uninterrupted, not scattered by the desires of enjoyments, and do not vanish due to the effects of laya, kashaya, etc. The mere chanters of the scriptural sayings cannot accomplish that. Unwise people, bereft of mental modification in the form of Brahman, passionate for sense enjoyment,